This is Jeremy Wentworth-Stanley. I'm the fellow who has a hyphen in my name. The hyphen is silent, but I am anything but that. The discussion we're about to have is central to everybody's life. It's called education. And I suspect there's not a person on this planet that isn't educated in one shape or form. I think it's universal. I think it's ubiquitous. It's something or other, omnipresent. And this morning to discuss this is Sarah Benton, who's my co-host, and myself, Jeremy Wentworth-Stanley. I'm the voice of Respectonomics, and our subject is education.
Excellent. Good morning, Jeremy. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everybody. Now, on the subject of education, most of us, I think, eyes roll over and we start thinking about those terrible days at school when we were stuck in some bench or something and having to listen to somebody droning on and on and on. So let's agree that we're going to be talking about the excitement of education and its importance and relevance. Is that a fair start?
Sounds like a great start.
Okay, well, now, just to make it even worse, how be if we talk about the Latin origin of the word education?
All
now,
right.
You're not allowed to roll your eyes, Sarah.
No eyes rolling.
What have we got? All the Okay. Sarah, the point about education, it's actually made out of two words in Latin, ex and duco. One is ex, meaning out of, and duco, meaning leading. So what education does, it leads us out of ourselves to other places. It's a very exciting dynamic. If I'm going to be critical of my education, I do not believe I was ever excited. I don't think I was ever put in a place where this is leadership value, this is leadership content. I came from my accent will tell you this, I came from a very English, straightforward upbringing. Education. Now, I'm extremely fortunate, and that is because I know we laugh about this one, and you're not allowed to laugh.
Never.
Absolutely not. No, this is grown up, that my education is quite extraordinary because my degree is, I was at Eton and then went to McGill, and my degree is in classics, in Latin and Greek.
Right.
And I have read the original texts and translated Thucydides and Homer and Virgil. I'm trying to remember all the others. But anyway, lots of them. Tacitus. But anyway, the reason I'm mentioning that is most people would, in fact, roll their eyes. Seriously. I come back with a very different answer. And this is where I think education needs to hit the road. One day, when I was at school in England, I said to my teacher, my master, we called him our beak, which I never quite understood, but master anyway. And I said to him and started railing about the futility of learning dead languages. Why do we have to learn all this Latin and Greek? It's dead, it's boring, it's this, that, and the other. Now, you need to know that the master to whom I was being so rude was in fact the editor of the Castle's Latin-English dictionary. We were dealing with an eminent classicist. He was a graduate of Cambridge, I think, with double firsts and all that kind of stuff. Utterly brilliant. And I've never forgotten his answer. And he looked at me. He didn't sort of hit me on the head and say, be quiet. He said, it provides a neutral foundation. And I think when we look at education, we want to focus on the concept of a neutral foundation. You and I know full well, if you're going to be a dentist, there are very many technical skills you're going to need to know, whether they're biological, anatomical, anesthetic, whatever they might be. You're going to need to know those things. That is true. But the neutral foundation is an imperative for two reasons. One is because it leads to a place of critical thinking. And secondly, it allows us the flexibility to address different circumstances, different issues as they emerge. And the reason that's so important is not only that sounds like good stuff, but how many specialty products have we studied in the last, let's say, 50 years that no longer exist?
Right.
No longer relevant. Take a VHS tape. It doesn't exist any longer. or if it does, it's got a lot of dust on it. The point I'm getting to is the education that we have needs to be foundational. And I believe, and I would love people to call us on this one, and Sarah, I'd love your opinion, but I think a lot of that foundation is now missing.
Mm-hmm.
That when we talked about the 3 R's, the reading, the writing, and the arithmetic,
Right.
the writing in particular, writing is such a powerful tool. It's anthropological. The caveman was scribbling on the walls of the cave. So we know how valuable it is to write. And yet so many people today literally do not know how to write.
Mm-hmm.
And to take that to one step further, we have a very high degree of literacy in the world. Actually, we don't.
Mm.
By literacy, what we mean is that you not only can read the words, but you can comprehend them, you can process them.
Right.
And I think there's a lot today when writing on a print or something or an idea is put in front of people, they are not able to process it.
Mm.
And I think this is part of this whole business with the proverbial internet, the proverbial political framework, where we're actually being asked to dumb down. We're being asked to be robotic. We're being asked to be automatons. We're being expected just to follow and blindly do what we're told to do. Education is a wonderful way to be able to look at things differently in an exciting way, turning things upside down. One of my heroes is Edward de Bono. He's no longer with us, but he wrote the book on lateral thinking.
Mm.
What he does with lateral thinking is he says, takes an idea, now turn it upside down. Throw it in any which way you want. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And his principle is, and I won't go more than this, his principle is you're asked to dig a hole, and you
Mm-hmm.
dig this hole, and it is absolutely beautifully done. It is symmetrical. The circumference is exactly what was intended. The sides are smooth. It's beautiful. It even has a shiny coat to it. There's only one problem. The hole is in the wrong place.
Right.
So education is something that needs, I believe, to go back to some extraordinarily basic values. The values, in other words, of the reading and the writing and the arithmetic. Not because that they in and of themselves are, what would you call them, objectives, but it's what they release us to be able to do, to analyze, to assess, to bring forward. I very
Right.
much doubt that respectonomics, I realize it's a result of experience. It is also the consequence of education. So that's where I would like to see the education restart and rejig itself.
Right. Right. Providing
Do you
that
have any
foundation.
comments? Because I have two concluding comments, and then I'm going to
Okay.
be, believe it or not, I will be quiet. But I wondered if you would like to join in with your thoughts on education.
Well, like I say, I think what you've just did out is the value and the importance of foundation for anything,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because without that strong and valid foundation, how you grow or develop or move forward in strategy and thought and in practice, without that strong, valid foundation, is what you're building going to stand the test of time, if you will, or how
I like,
solid will it be?
and I like your word building, because one of the things I want to build in my life is my identity.
Hmm.
I want to build my sense of value, my sense of self-worth, not in an arrogant sense, of course,
Right.
but in that sense of the good fortune that has been bestowed on each and every one of us. And education is a wonderful way of amplifying and looking at what we've already got
It
and
affords
expanding them.
opportunities as well,
Mhm. And the
right?
opportunities, exactly. Now, I have two things to say, and then, believe it or not, I shall zip the lip. Do you believe me?
Momentarily.
I thought it was just for the moment. Two things. I'm not what would you call it, Anglo something or other, but I do know one thing about the educational system that I came through that I'd like to put on the table. When I came to Canada in 1968, I didn't understand the grade system at all.
Mm.
People would
Very
say,
different here to there.
very much. And the reason for the difference is you would say we are in North America would say I'm in grade 8, 9, 10 or whatever it
Right.
is. My education was based on grades again in the individual subject.
Right.
So for example, I was in grade 1 in Latin, and you won't be surprised to know that I was in grade 8 in geography, because I am geographically ridiculous. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
My daughter has inherited it. She asks whether it's polar bears or whether it's penguins to find out whether it's north or south.
Got it.
That's how bad it is. And I'm geographically hopeless. But the point of the matter is, where I was excelling, which was in Latin and Greek and so on, I was given full headroom. And where I needed to work harder and longer and so on, then that was the subject where I was held back. So the subjects became, and our lives are like that, for heaven's sake.
Right.
The things we do bigger and better than others. And the
Well, we all
educational
have our specialty in our niches and what we excel
exactly. Yeah.
in.
This may or may not, and I'm never sure if this should be on air or not, but here it is. I failed 2 subjects at school in England. Now, one wasn't really a subject as such in the literal sense, but it's close enough. And the 2 subjects I failed, I think you know it already, but if you don't, I will tell you. Do you know, or do I just
Yes,
say
you
it?
have shared this before.
Okay. Do I tell everybody?
Yes, because you know why I think it's important is it shows that we all have areas of opportunity. We have strengths. I
Yeah.
don't always like to call them weaknesses, but areas that we need, we would like to improve in.
Yeah.
We're not perfect. We're
No.
all, we're human.
Right. Well, okay. Well, the 2 subjects I failed were English and public speaking.
Which is funny.
And you can
Like
say,
when you look at things now,
yeah.
right?
And you would probably, with your humor, would say, yes, it shows.
I would never say that. Not on air.
No, not on there. Lastly, on the subject of education, in the workplace, we often think of corporations and businesses, service clubs, whatever they would be, encouraging education. And one of the things they do is they say, if you take this course, it will be in the subject that relates to that particular business. And I believe that is an error. I think what corporations, businesses need to be doing is to encourage education in anything. It might be the history of art. It might be, the origins of philosophy. It might be mathematical principles, whatever it might be. One of the things I've discovered about education is it's like lighting a fire. You light it in one place and it lights something else somewhere else. And I think the whole concept of education, if we believe it foundationally, then we believe in a broad base. And the institutions, corporations, businesses, I believe, should be offering grants or subsidies, whatever it is, for education, but not restricting it to any particular field and saying, go for it, go and learn Spanish.
Right.
Whatever it would be, because education is in self, it's like an octopus. You get one leg growing, you get many more arms growing as well. It's a wonderful experience.
Excellent.
So there it is. I think I shall rest my case unless you would like to say something else.
Nope, not at all. That's excellent.
In that case, I rest my case.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Sarah.